Hi everyone, this is Pluribus episode 1, entitled We is Us. Obviously there are spoilers ahead in this episode, so here we go. Okay, before we even meet the main character, this story begins far from Earth. High above the planet, astronomers and scientists who study stars, planets, and space astronomers, they detect a strange radio signal, meaning a stream of invisible waves carrying information, a strange radio signal. The signal is coming from a planet 600 light years away, which tells us immediately that whatever sent it existed hundreds of years ago. When scientists decode the signal, that means they translate the hidden or the encrypted information into something readable, they decode the signal. They discover something that's shocking. The message contains an RNA sequence, instructions for biological life. RNA is a molecule found in all living organisms. It carries genetic instructions, similar to DNA. Government researchers, they begin testing the sequence, meaning they experiment with it under controlled conditions. They begin testing the sequence. They inject it into lab animals, especially rats, to see how it behaves. One night, a rat becomes aggressive, unusually hostile or violent, and bites a scientist. And that bite becomes what we call ground zero, meaning the exact place where a disaster begins. Within hours, the virus spreads. People begin collapsing. They suffer convulsions, which are violent, uncontrollable muscle movements, and seizures. Hospitals become overwhelmed. Emergency systems break down, meaning they stop functioning properly. They break down. And this is how the end of the world quietly starts. Not with explosions, but with biology. Now we meet Carol Sturcker. She's a famous novelist, a professional writer of fiction, and she has sold millions of books. But success has made her cynical. She no longer believes in sincerity or optimism or good intentions. She's cynical. Now, Carol is on a book tour with her partner and manager, Helen. A book tour is a series of public events where authors promote their books. Carol hates this life. She feels trapped by it. One night, the two women sit in a bar, winding down, relaxing after a long and exhausting period. They are winding down, they're drinking, and they are talking. And Carol vents her frustration. She says she despises her readers. She hates them. She despises her fame and even her own novels. Helen urges her, encourages her to finish her next book, a serious novel that might finally say something meaningful. Carol notices something strange. Planes fly overhead in perfect formation, releasing a kind of mist. This mist is an aerosol, a cloud of tiny particles floating in the air. And Carol senses something is wrong. Moments later, chaos erupts. A man crashes his truck into another vehicle. He begins convulsing. Helen suddenly collapses too, and Carol panics. Panic is a sudden, overwhelming fear that makes it hard to think clearly. Carol panics. She drags Helen into the car and speeds towards the hospital. Racing against time, This is an idiom, meaning trying desperately to act before it's too late. She's racing against time. The hospital is a nightmare. People are lying on the floor, twitching, screaming, and dying. Doctors and nurses are helpless. And Carol tries CPR, but Helen does not respond. CPR is cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It's a technique used to restart the heart. CPR. Helen dies, and Carol breaks down. To break down means to lose emotional control completely. Then something impossible happens. Everyone else suddenly stands up. They stare at Carol, not as individuals, but as something unified. And when Carol returns home, the city looks very different. Fires burn in the distance. People move calmly and cooperatively. There's no chaos anymore, just order. But it's an unnatural order. This is when we understand the concept of a hive mind, meaning a collective consciousness where individuals lose personal identity and think as one group, like ants or bees. Carol can't find her keys, and two infected children calmly tell her exactly where her spare keys are hidden. They know her memories. This is invasive. Invasive means entering something without permission. This knowledge feels invasive. Carol is terrified. She goes inside and turns on the television. A government official speaks on TV, and behind him, words flash across the screen. Your life is your own. We are not aliens. These messages are deeply ironic. Irony is a contrast between what is said and what is true, because nothing feels normal anymore. Then Carol's phone rings. The man introduces himself as Davis Taffler, a government official. He explains that Carol is one of only 12 people on Earth who are immune. Immune meaning naturally protected from infection. Everyone else has been assimilated, meaning absorbed into the collective and stripped of individuality. And the hive mind, this collective mind, wants Carol to join them. They promise happiness, peace, an end to loneliness. But Carol understands the cost. There's a trade-off. A trade-off is a situation where you give up one thing to gain another. Carol understands this is a trade-off. She would have to give up her autonomy, her ability to make independent choices, her autonomy. Carol refuses. She stands her ground. This is an idiom, meaning she refuses to change her position. Even though she's grieving, she's terrified, and she's alone. She's doing what we call calling their bluff. To call someone's bluff means to challenge a threat or promise and see if it's real. And the episode ends with Carol isolated, surrounded by a world that insists we is us. And Carol answers silently, no. Some of the themes in this episode, we have individuality versus conformity, being yourself versus becoming part of a group. Consent is a theme, choosing freely, not being forced. Grief, emotional pain after losing someone. And control disguised as care, when something harmful pretends to be helpful. Some of the key vocabulary from this episode: phrasal verbs, idioms, sayings. An astronomer This is a scientist who studies space. To decode is to translate hidden information. RNA. This is biological instruction molecule. Convulsions are violent muscle movements. An aerosol, tiny particles in the air. Panic is sudden, intense fear. Hive mind. This is a shared collective consciousness. To assimilate is to absorb into a group. Autonomy. This is independence and self-control. Invasive. This is entering without permission. And the trade-off is giving up one thing for another. A few phrasal verbs: to wind down, relax after stress. To break down, in this context, is to lose emotional control. Stand your ground. Refuse to change position. To call someone's bluff, this is to challenge a threat or a claim. Idioms, sayings, a race against time. This is to hurry before it's too late. Your life is your own. This is an expression of personal freedom. And we is us, the episode title. This is distorted, incorrect grammar. It's used to emphasize forced unity. And that's episode 1 of season 1 of Pluribus. Thank you for listening. This is Listen. See you in the next episode. Don't forget to share and subscribe. Until next time, bye-bye for now.